Good evening and welcome. We're already off to a great start here. I'm Carly Lang.
Sherry Jackson.
And Dave Nussbaum.
Yes, we're here in our CBS 42 Plus Evening Studio. We've got a lot happening with weather, so we've got Dave joining us. Some big news this afternoon, Dave. Big news.
Yeah, that's right. We are looking at strong to severe storms kind of working the way across the area as we head throughout the rest of the evening tonight. Main threat will be some large hail, some strong winds around 60 to 70 miles per hour. And I can't rule out a brief tornado. None so far, which is good, but something we're definitely keeping an eye on out there. So we need to be weather aware throughout the rest of the evening to about 11 o'clock tonight here. So that's what we're talking about, hail, damaging winds, and the possibility of maybe a tornado or two across the area as well, too. You can see here, again, the hail threat is going to be our highest, followed by severe wind, and then tornado threat on the low side. But we'll still have to keep an eye out for everything as we go throughout the 11 o'clock hour. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect there until 10 o'clock for everyone except for Greene and Hale counties. Sorry to leave you two out, but that just means the threat's going to stay far enough north of you, which is good news for y'all down there. But still looking at here live, look in Tuscaloosa. We have some rain, little thunderstorm coming in. Nothing severe right now, but definitely producing some wet conditions for you. 77 degrees there in Tuscaloosa right now. And over on into Summerton now, we can see heavy rain. Look at this coming on down in Summerton. So we're still looking at this continuing, and every once in a while, see a flash of lightning out there as well. Temperatures there in Summerton down to 71 with those northwest winds of 13. So dealing with, again, some pretty rough conditions out there with that rain coming in, and that's going to eventually close into Birmingham. You can see the storms mainly along and north of I-20 at this point. At this moment, though, we have one severe thunderstorm warning that is there until 6:45 there for Lamar County. Watching that storm coming in from the northwest, though. Another one pretty intense heading to Fayette County, and a ton of lightning. Carly, your hometown right now, Cordova, Jasper, some heavy rain, thunder, lightning, likely some small hail moving on into that area. So we're going to continue watching that one pretty closely as well. So as that storm continues that track off to the east, moving into eventually Sipsey, Summerton, could impact Warrior, Morris area if it holds together there. Behind this, not much in the way of thunderstorms over North Mississippi, which is good. Still watching those Columbus, West Point, Starkville, Golden Triangle area as we're continuing to see how these play out for us here the rest of the evening. But you can see here down at Tuscaloosa, some of that rain headed to Vance and into the area there over not too far away from Lakeview, getting in on some of that rain. So we'll watch those storms. Coming on in toward Birmingham, there's some storms over Mulga, Hueytown area, heading eventually on in toward the city. We'll continue to watch that one. Nothing severe, but can't rule out some noisy thunderstorm as it passes by. Continuing to watch all of this here as we go forward. Those storms moving through Jasper and into Sullivan seem to be the strongest two we have at the moment. Just north of Coleman as well, and they'll continue on that eastward track. There's a chance this could congeal into a line as they get eventually toward Gadsden area back to Fort Payne with maybe some damaging wind threat for those areas. So be watching for that. A little bit of front lifting to the north, aiding in the storm development out there this evening. So we'll continue seeing that sneaking northward as well tomorrow especially. But there you see the storms here through 7 o'clock in the Coleman, Jasper area through Birmingham. They'll move to Gadsden, Anniston by 9 o'clock with additional storms behind it. Going to watch for these to potentially be strong, maybe even a little severe side as well too. And then as we head into 11 o'clock, still watching some storms, though the greatest severe threat may at that point be moving closer into the Atlanta area. Lingering showers overnight, nothing severe. Tomorrow morning looking pretty quiet, some clouds, maybe a few sprinkles out there, so it doesn't look too bad. Temperatures will get to 81 tomorrow afternoon. We're looking at partly cloudy sky, dry conditions out there. That's a good thing because we're going to do this all over again on Wednesday. I hate to say it. Another weather aware as we head into Wednesday. We're looking quite, again, another line coming on through from roughly 6 p.m. Wednesday to 6 a.m. Thursday here. A damaging wind, hail threat out there, not quite as high as today, and maybe a brief tornado. Can't be ruling that out as well. So you'll see there's a level 2 risk for much of the western part of the state, level 1 for the rest of us on Wednesday. And notice Futurecast shows much of the day is actually going to be quiet and dry and warm out there. Again, partly cloudy Wednesday. We're not going to see those storms really into Birmingham until about midnight going into Thursday. But again, we'll be watching that. So, right, yeah, so much of the day is not going to be too bad. But as we go throughout Thursday early morning here. That's when the storms come in. Notice they're moving fairly slowly, so this could transition to a heavy rain event after 6 a.m. on Thursday as that rain continues to kind of pile up, though, through lunchtime on Thursday, and then eventually starting to taper off during the afternoon to a few showers before the weather improves. And then we cool down, actually, by Thursday as well, too. We could pick up between now and Thursday here, maybe about an inch, 2 inches, 3 inches in some spots, not out of the question. So we'll have to watch out for that, although we need the rain with those dry conditions across the area. So need to be prepared for that as well, too. But you can see here right now, looking ahead on your 7 or 10-day forecast, that we are looking at more in the way of those warm temperatures Tuesday and Wednesday, 83 there Wednesday, then turning down to 61 degrees as we head into Thursday's high. So a little cool down. Back to the near 80 over the weekend before another front Sunday into Monday. That one will cool us down for next week. You'll see highs in the upper 50s to lower 60s and lows getting back down to the upper 30s during that time frame. So we are going to start to see, again, a little more of that cooler weather starting to build back in. But still watching a lot of these storms out there. I want to go back up to the north here and kind of highlight some of the ones we're keeping an eye on, especially those over into the area there, again, across part of Fayette County, and they're over in toward Walker County, again, for the Jasper area, keeping a close eye on those storms for you as it continues to move in. There's been some broad, meaning weak rotation showing up with that storm there, so we're going to continue watching to see just exactly what that may end up starting to do there. But there you see that storm we're keeping an eye on in the Jasper area. Lots of lightning there. Again, here, it's not your perfect looking storm, again, but gusty winds, 60, 70 miles per hour for you in Walker County, are something we're definitely keeping an eye on for you.
All right, Dave. Lots to keep an eye on. A good time to go ahead and download our CBS 42 News app.
That's right.
You can find the weather there.
You can find our streaming weather channel on there, as well as our website and our YouTube page. If you haven't found it already, great way to track all these storms, local cameras on there, and much, much more. So check all that out so you can track all the weather this week.
And if you really like storm watching, you can watch those places where it's raining, like Summerton. You can really see it coming down there right now, Dave.
That's right. So check that out. Plus a nice little jazz music to go with it, too.
We love the jazz music. All right, Dave. Thank you. We appreciate it. Keeping an eye on the weather and some breaking news today with Tua.
This is, I think a lot of people expected that Tua would not be with the Dolphins anymore for this season. And so we got that news today. And the Dolphins picked up another quarterback, what's his name, Malik Willis. But we want to talk about Tua here, right?
Yes.
It's a surprise. You saw earlier as well that the Falcons are looking at bringing Tua in. Apparently, they've reached a 1-year deal. The Dolphins owe a lot of money, and I'm talking like I'm a sports person here. Our AJ Holiday will be joining us in just a second to break all that down, breaking down the numbers and free agency. That part started today, and that's why we're starting to see a lot of these deals. Tua officially can't sign his deal until Wednesday. There you are, AJ.
Sorry,
Pick
AJ,
it up
I
from
had
there.
to get your name up. But he is here now with some info for us.
Yeah, so Tua's 6-year tenure in Miami officially came to an end today. An up and down ride throughout his tenure, mixed with injuries. He just signed a record-breaking contract 2 years ago, right, over $200 million, the largest in Miami history. And now today they decided to cut him. The Dolphins have over close to $100 million in dead cap, right? So that was kind of a weird move on their end, but it gives Tua the opportunity to get a fresh start in Atlanta. They're building something, promising. There's a lot of young talent over there, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. And so I like the opportunity for Tua to get a fresh start, right? He's very familiar with Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm sure a lot of Alabama fans remember 2nd and 26 his freshman year, threw a game-winning touchdown pass to Devontae Smith, and played in 2 other games there, 3-0. In that stadium as Alabama's quarterback, and now that'll be his home for at least 1 year.
So much to unpack there with Devontae Smith and being over there and, Jalen Hurts. But let's talk about Tua. They owe him $99 million.
Yeah, safe to say Tua's going to be just okay.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. They owe him all of that money because his contract was guaranteed. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Obviously, Atlanta has a quarterback on their roster in Michael Penix, so they just drafted 2 years ago, right? So to kind of give up on the young guy and move away is kind of you got to see the confidence toll that it takes on Penix. But Atlanta's quarterback situation has been really shaky the last couple years. 5 different quarterbacks in 5 years, right? So now Tua trying to kind of be the savior for the Falcons in a division that's been up and down.
Don't put that pressure on Tua. Some Falcons fans are not excited about this Tua deal, though.
Yeah, no, they're not. And it's kind of because they believe, right, they have a quarterback already that's also injury prone, and Tua has his own history with injuries, right? 4 documented concussions. And a lot of people forget about the hip injury that he suffered when he was at Alabama, right? That was one that kind of, you can tell the toll that it took on his body as far as putting torque on the ball. A lot of people have criticized his deep ball ability. So just hopefully a chance for him to maybe bounce back and get his career back to the projection that people had for him as the 5th overall pick in 2020.
You know, so just the mother and me. I just want to pray for covering over him, because I do worry about him, and I know it's his dream and it's what he wants to do, and it's good that he kind of ends on the upside and that they didn't end his career. And they did a nice little, thank you to Tua. The Dolphins did a little video about all that he's done, because they were fanatical about Tua in Miami early on.
Yeah, and that 2023 season, right, was his best season. And for the Dolphins, they went 11-6, made a playoff run, and lost in the first round, unfortunately. But that was sort of the building moment, right? That they were looking to take that next step, and then injuries happened to be a part of the game. Tua just happened to be on the bad end of those, and things just ended rough, right? He ended this last season with another injury. So a fresh start for him in a big city in Atlanta, as the Falcons try to build some momentum in the NFC South.
And a lot of his Alabama fans can, it's a quicker trip to Atlanta than Miami.
So for sure, yeah, that Falcons-Saints rivalry gets a lot more interesting now with Tua being in the building.
See, there you go. If he gets in the game, all right.
AJ, thank you. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
You're watching CBS 42 Plus, 42 Plus Evenings.
Welcome back into CBS 42 Plus Evenings. This Sunday in Selma, they held the Bridge Crossing Jubilee commemorating Bloody Sunday.
Yeah, it's been 61 years this year, March 7th, 1965. Hundreds of peaceful protesters set out to march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. They were headed to Montgomery for a Voting Rights Act march, and they were beaten at the bottom of the bridge. They never made it to Montgomery that day, but of course the Voting Rights Act has since passed. They eventually made it to Montgomery, and the change and what happened with the sacrifices that those people made has been commemorated each year, really for a long time, for decades at this point. People come back from all over the country to reenact the march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Our CBS 42 reporter Charlize Ramos was out there this Sunday for the commemoration of the bridge crossing, and she brings us a look.
On the Edmund Pettus Bridge today, you could hear singing, the crowd chanting, and see thousands of people marching. While this scene looks different than the one 6 decades ago, foot soldiers like Annie Pearl Avery say she is still fighting for equal rights today.
We stopped working. We got comfortable. And we're back in the same shape we were in almost then, except we're a little bit more knowledgeable. Most of us are. And I think at this time we're going to fight harder.
New generations say they are ready to continue that fight because of Avery and other foot soldiers.
They gave us voting rights and basically everything they didn't have. Because if they didn't walk across this bridge, no movements would have been made for us to be living free and non-segregated any longer in the state of America.
And signs throughout The march reading "It's About Us" show how this fight isn't just one of the past, with local leaders echoing that message, saying,
"This meeting is more than just a walk across a bridge. This meeting is an expression of our sincerity, our love for our democracy, and our love for opportunities we have, and our determination not to lose it."
Even though many gathered today to honor civil rights leaders, one voice was deeply missed.
We miss and mourn the passing of our Reverend Jesse Jackson, because he's been here almost every march we've had across the bridge since we started it. And that's a big loss, and it can't be replaced.
But even as they remember Jesse Jackson and those who helped lead the movement, the message to never forget what was fought for remains the same years later. In Selma, Charlize Ramos, CBS 42 News.
Certainly, Reverend Jackson was missed there this year. I remember seeing him there. They had the celebration of life service for him on Friday in Chicago, attended by thousands. 3 former U.S. presidents spoke about him and his influence on their administrations as a civil rights icon, but mostly as someone who continued to push a message of hope. Reverend Jackson died on February 17th at 84 years old.
And on the heels of the death of Reverend Jackson, historians are addressing the question, who tells their story and preserves the legacy of these civil rights pioneers and leaders like the foot soldiers that participated in the bridge crossing.
Yeah, so many people whose names you don't know, but many names you know. CBS 42's Sydney Spencer spoke with a local historian, Barry McNeely of the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, to find out about what exists today to tell the story, but also the actions that people can take to make sure their stories are not lost.
And he said, Andy Young's coming, and there aren't that many of us left anymore who are over 75 and have been through all this.
Former President Bill Clinton alluded to it during his remarks at Reverend Jesse Jackson's funeral today. Those frontline civil rights pioneers are leaving us, giving a certain urgency to preserving their legacy.
And see young people.
It's something Birmingham Civil Rights Institute historian Barry McNeely has been dedicated to doing for years.
Of course, you can no longer have them in real time to go back and forth with them and gain more from them. But in our modern era, we have so many recordings.
McNeely says some of those recordings can be found at the BCRI within their oral history collection, along with images and written timelines of events involving those pioneers. Among those images, the late Reverend Jesse Jackson.
His contributions are to be remembered as a person that was a bridge between the Kenyan civil rights movement and the modern civil rights movement.
The question McNeely often is tasked with is how to relay their legacies to the generations to come.
But if we don't stand on history, history will stand on us.
Former Alabama Senator Hank Sanders believes it starts with continuing the conversations along with gathering on the dates of historical events. The most recent one being the Selma Bridge Crossing Jubilee, which commemorates what took place on March 7th, 1965, also known as Bloody Sunday.
So many of our young people and so many of our people in general do not understand the power of history. And so the Bridge Crossing Jubilee has dozens of events, and each one of them is an opportunity to learn.
And that was our Sydney Spencer reporting. This conversation about connecting the next generation to these civil rights leaders, we mentioned, comes on the heels of the death of the Reverend Jesse Jackson, but also 2 other civil rights pioneers that have died within the last month or so, Dr. Bernard Lafayette Jr. and Joan Bland.
Yeah, and such rich histories here. Dr. Lafayette is the civil rights strategist who quietly laid the groundwork for that Selma to Montgomery march, that voting rights campaign. It produced the landmark Voting Rights Act that we mentioned. He was 85 years old when he died just this past week on March 5th. of this year. And we told you about Joanne Bland, a foot soldier from Selma, one of the daughters of Selma, who had been involved in the civil rights movement really since she was a child, 8 years old. She was on the bridge at 11 years old, in 19. She is also one of the founders of the Selma Museum there, that keeps telling this story to future generations of people who, as we saw in Charlize's story, people who continue to go back to Selma, some to relive being there before 61 years ago, but many coming to learn about that history and talk to those people like Barry McNeely mentioned, learning from word of mouth what it was like then, what it's like now, and what they are thinking about right now.
And to learn more and to kind of keep this history alive, you can, of course, visit the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute here in downtown Birmingham. A great place for, a resource for education, but I do like the Voices exhibit, because a lot of this, as these civil rights pioneers pass away, you don't get to conversate with them.
Yes, and so hearing from them in their own words, tell their stories, I think that's very powerful, and it's a great research tool as well.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
CBS 42 Plus, 42 Plus Evenings.
It is that time of evening where our 10 o'clock producer, Claire Jacobs, joins us with what's coming up tonight, Claire.
We have our full coverage of the severe weather that's coming through tonight. Our Amy Hybels severe weather mobile, our CBS 42 storm
Weather alert unit.
Weather alert unit. I swear I'll get that name right. It's only been 4 years. But we got live coverage driving around Jefferson County and seeing what happens. But yeah, we got full weather coverage tonight.
At 6 o'clock we showed some of the storms in Summerton. You could see that rain coming down.
The lightning outside in Homewood, I went on my dinner break, was wild outside. I was seeing like cloud to ground.
For an eventful evening.
Yeah, it's going to be loud, I think.
All right, Claire. Well, we're almost out of time, so thank you all for joining us. We will see y'all tonight on the news at 10. Be careful in this weather.
Yeah, be safe.
Please stay safe, and we'll have a recap of everything tonight at 10. Have a good night.
Good night.